Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feature Friday, and it's so good to be back. And we'll get started here in about 2 more minutes. We'll get started with tonight's program. Alrighty. Woohoo! Let's see here. Hope everyone is doing well and have had a great week. I know it's been crazy busy for us here, that's for sure. Especially getting all of our technical issues resolved. Okay. Hi, Mia. Welcome. Good to see you. And I tell you, what has caused all these problems finally is actually the modem from our internet provider. The upstream part of the modem died, and I was getting downloads, fast downloads, but just no uploads. Hi, Laura. Hi, Judy. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Karen. Good to see everybody. Yeah, so it's been resolved. This is the first big test tonight, so let's hope everything goes okay. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be just fine tonight. You know, with so much going on technology-wise to make something like this happen, it's always a work in progress, everybody. Oh, wonderful, Mike. Thank you. Hi, Phyllis. Hi, Vila. And I tell you, so I'm going to just, what we were going to do last week, I'm starting over tonight, and we're going to get started, everyone. Welcome to Feature Friday. And this is my series that I have named, and this will continue tomorrow as well. But this is my Charms Gone Wild series, and what we're examining right now, I'm using 5-inch square charm packs, 5-inch squares of fabric, and seeing how many different quilt blocks we can make with a disappearing block. And what that means is this, okay? This is a 4-patch, okay? 4 squares of fabric sewn together. And I'm going to show you how to turn this into 2 completely different quilt blocks tonight. And I do have a quilt on my design wall that I've started that I'm hopefully going to be able to finish up on tomorrow's episode. But I'm going to just slowly take my camera and I'll put my hand over it so no one gets seasick. But there it is on my wall. There are the 2 different blocks. I'm going to show you how to make this. This is all done with batiks, and it has a scrappy look. There we go. Alrighty. So, without further ado, we're going to get started. Welcome, everybody. And hi, Gia. Hi, Linda. Hi, Janelle. So, we're going to get started. I'm going to swap over to my other camera so you can see what we're doing here. And let's see, it's this one here. There we go. So there's that 4-patch block. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to cut this apart. So I pieced it, pressed it, and now that I have this 4-patch, I'm going to cut it apart. So there's 2 different blocks. We're going to do this block first, right here. Okay? And all it is, if you lay it down like this, that seam line, you have one vertical, horizontal. This is all about making 1.5-inch cuts from these original seam lines. All the way, one cut all the way around, 4 sides. So, from the center. How we do that, now to make it easier on me, and I can't tell you how much I recommend one of these for everybody, not only for this project, for many, this is a rotating rotary cutting mat. I love this thing. But I have this ruler, and I have the 1.5 inch mark on it, and I'm going to put the 1.5 inch mark right on top of the seam line, right there, and then I'm going to cut it right here. So that'll be a 1.5 inch cut from the center, and I'm going to do that on all 4 sides of this block. So check it out. Move this back just a little bit. And we'll make that very first cut. Okay, so that's my first cut. I'm going to lift up my ruler and I'm going to rotate my mat. I'm going to make another 1.5 inch cut. And we'll rotate it again. Put the 1.5 inch mark right on top of that center seam line. There we go. That's 3 cuts. We have 1 more to go. Excuse me. Right there, right on the center seam, the 1.5 inch mark on that ruler. There we go. Now that's all cut apart. And notice I can separate it now, and I'll have 9 pieces. Okay? The only thing I have to do, I'm going to rotate the side pieces so that the same 2 fabrics are not touching each other. I just have to rotate all of these. And there we go. Now when we sew them together, like that, we'll end up with this. Let's get them sewn together. And we'll move to another camera view here. I'm just going to bring them over one at a time and piece them together in order. Okay. Quarter-inch seam, 1.8 millimeter stitch length. And I could chain piece, but just so I know they stay in order, I'm going to move them over one set at a time. Excuse me. And as you can see, perfect quarter-inch seams. Now, even though I am using 5-inch charm squares or squares of fabric to start with, you could use any size square for your 4-patch before you cut them apart and make any size block that you wanted. Now that I have those done, I'm going to sew the last group of pieces to each row. There. And this is what I meant. No 2 of the same fabrics will touch each other in the block. That's why we had to rotate these pieces right here. this one, and then we'll sew the 3 rows together. When I finish piecing this block, I will look at the screen to answer questions, and then we'll move on to our next block. Now, you could actually make an entire quilt top out of just one of the blocks if you wanted to. So many ways to do that, because these 2 blocks that we're going to make, they will come out to exactly the same size. They come out to an 8.5 inch block, which is actually an 8-inch finished block once it's all sewn together. So 4 5-inch squares of fabric will make a finished 8-inch quilt block using this method. And I'm taking my time and nesting my seams as I go. Easy peasy. See there? How nice that all lines up. Okay, and we have 1 more row to add. Mike's in there making chili for dinner tonight. It is cold and cold here today, cold and damp. Okay. There we go. There's the block done already. How fast is that? Isn't that awesome? Check out the piecing on the back. And this is the point that I would actually go and iron this so it lays nice and flat. Let's have a look at the chat window. I'll answer any questions on that one. Let me swap my camera. Right there. Hello. Okay. Hi, Donna. Yes, oh yes, Mia, I did use 4 of those 5-inch squares of fabric, yes. Hi, Sarah. So, Mia, in the bottom of the video is my Amazon link for for my cutting mat that's in the video here. However, I always recommend to shop local, so go to your local retailer or your quilt shop and buy one there. If it's not available there, then by all means you can order one off of Amazon. Okay. Hi, Christina. Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, Jackie. No, Lisa, all I do when I'm sewing them, I will just, with my fingers, I will nest them to either side and they'll press really nice and flat. For instance, this one that is complete and completely pressed, you can see how nice and flat that lays in the back. Okay. And let's see here. Hi, Margaret. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome, Mia. Okay, so, and that's a really cool one. Now, the other block is the same 1.5 inch cut, but instead of cutting from the center, using the center line as to line up the ruler, the next one is the reverse of it, and we're going to cut 1.5 inches in from the outside edge of that 4 patch. Okay, so we're going to make another one. Excuse me. Let me swap my camera back over. And we want this one right there. There we go. Okay. So, here is our new 4 patch. Notice it's all been pressed and it lays nice and flat. Now we're going to take our ruler And this time, instead of measuring from the inner seam lines, both horizontally and vertically, I'm going to use that same 1.5 inches on my ruler, but I'm going to line that 1.5 inches up with the outside edge of this 4 patch, and then make my cut from there. Here we go. Check it out. Here's one. Now I'll lift it, rotate it. I have to do 1 time on each of the 4 sides. Okay. Here's 2. This will be 3. And this will be 4. Right there. Okay. Now, when I separate them, check it out. There's my corner pieces. I still have 9 pieces, but instead of having them closer to being the same size, they're very different in the size here. Scoosh this up, and as before, I'm going to rotate the 4 side pieces like so. And I'm just going to sew all of that together. And I like to have the larger piece of fabric on the bottom with the smaller piece on top. So I won't do it in the same order as I did before, but I'm just going to keep it in order as I sew here on my little cutting board. You could use 10-inch squares of fabric and do the same thing as we're doing here. That will go there. And while I'm just doing 2 variations tonight, there are many, many more that I'm going to demo here over the next few episodes. I'm just going to finger press that over so it just kind of stays a little bit flatter as I'm handling it and running it through the machine. Okay. There's that. And now we're going to sew these other 3 pieces onto our rows. And there, one more right here. All right, now we have 3 of these rows set together again. And by laying them out each time, you make sure, as we progress through this series, some of the blocks become way more complicated. And it's really important to lay them out so that they stay in the proper sewing order. These two are pretty easy to do, but it'll at least get you started with the concept of how to do this. Come on, you. Come on. Get that on there. Let's swap that camera. There we go. Now, when it comes to ironing, everybody, if you want to iron each and every step, if you're doing this at home, you can always do that. This is just how I do it. Because I believe sometimes we can over iron and over press our quilt piecing, because these fabrics are really, all fabric is easy if enough heat is applied to press it out a square. And that's why I try to do as the minimal amount of ironing as I have to. Alrighty, let's have a look at this one. Check it out. There. Isn't that cute? I like that one. So, we're going to go back over to our other camera right here, and I will go and look at I will look at questions here in just a moment. I want to just show you, you can take either block and set them edge to edge. You have a whole quilt top just made out of this one block. Or you can make a quilt top just out of these blocks and have them set together like so. Or you could all make them out of just two fabrics and not have it scrappy. Or, as I'm doing on my design wall, you can mix the two different blocks together. Check it out. When I do that, if I sew these together, I have 1, 2, 3 seam lines to match. If I do it this way, I've only got one seam line, and that's the center seam from this block to this one to match up. Notice how these seams go into the center in the thirds of this block. So, let's see here. Then that one we go up here like so. You can stagger them that way. So there's so many different ways that we can actually use this to make 3 different quilt tops with just what I showed you tonight. I am going to, hello there, hello. We're going to look at the questions. Hi Vanessa, I'm so happy to see you on here too. Yes, Donna, that rotating mat, that is a game changer. That was, Santa brought me that for Christmas, and I love it. Hi, Eugenia. Okay, Lisa. Oh, no, Lisa, that's not an odd question, and I've heard that many times before. Not all charm packs are cut as accurately as others. However, what I have always been told is you measure from the pinked edge. So you would line, if you have pinked edges, consider the tip of the pinked edge, the edge of the charm pack. I'm not aware of any echo tonight. Hi, L. Faber. I'm not aware of any echo tonight. I haven't. You're the only one I think that has mentioned that one tonight. Okay. It is so cool, Christina. Yes, this is so fun to make, and it's once you get the knack of it, it's really fast. So on the wall over here, I have, excuse me, 7 blocks across right now and 6 down. That's 42. And let's just rotate this around. You can see my mess. It's okay. Let me rotate that around there. There we go. But what I've discovered and how I'm going to do that using this method that I'm showing you right now for a layout, I'm actually going to make it an odd number of blocks wide and an odd number of blocks long. I'm going to make this one 7 wide and probably 9 long, because that would make it 56 by 72. What's 9 times 8? Yeah, it's 72, I think. Is that right? Oh gosh, I can't think here. Yes, it is right. So anyway, I'm either going to make it 7 by 9 or 9 by 9. I haven't decided yet, but I'm pretty close to having. I'll get the rest of the blocks for this live on camera tomorrow. It starts at noon tomorrow. And it'll be a lot of fun. I will show, once I get this one pieced, I will show you how to piece some other types of disappearing blocks using half square triangles and pinwheels. There's a lot of cool things like that one as well. So, come back around here. There we go. I tried to move quick so no one got too dizzy or you didn't see too much of my mess. Oh my goodness. Okay, so oh, wonderful, Lisa. Turn down C90D. Okay. Mike, not sure what you meant by that. C90D, you mean this camera, I think. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay, and what that line, that's thread. Okay, that's thread. Okay, let's do a couple more blocks. No, Margaret, last Saturday, because there were technical issues, our internet was not repaired until just this last Monday night. So I have been working really hard to do it. We did a lot of testing after it was fixed to make sure there wouldn't be any hiccups tonight. So it's all good. But let's do a couple more blocks just so you can kind of get another view of that. And let's see here. Let me go to, we'll go up to this other camera angle that I have. Here we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go over here and we are going to do another one. And these are all batiks out of my stash, is what these fabrics are. This is a pretty batik here. Check that one out. Excuse me. Okay. All right. Yes?
Do you understand it now?
No.
Look at the audio mixer.
Oh.
It's currently getting the audio from.
There we go.
Make sure they can hear you.
Can everyone still hear me? Yeah, I got everybody there, that's what Mike was telling me. There was another microphone that had turned on, and I just turned that off, so everyone should be hearing everything okay now, hopefully. You should not be hearing any more echo. It's always something, everybody. Oh my gosh. Yes, perfect. Wonderful, Sarah. I like that one. Everybody, okay, perfect, everybody. So let's do this one next. Okay, right here. So we're going to do our 1.5 inch cuts. Let me see where I'm at. Which ones do I need? Let's do this one. We're going to do one from the center. We're going to do another one like this, right here. We're going to cut this one again, right there. And I'm just going to take the 1.5 inch mark out from, this is a Creative Grids ruler that I really like. It's 4.5 by 18. And it's really great because it has a numbering system. These white numbers on this ruler right here are from this edge. The black numbers are from this edge over here. So it makes it super easy to get that measurement down that you're looking for. There's a 1.5 inch mark on this ruler right along that center seam line. I'm just going to do a cut. And I'm using a small rotary cutter. It's one with a 28mm blade. When you're just cutting single layers, it's just easier to maneuver. And I really like this one if I'm cutting out clothing patterns or clothing fabric. I use this smaller rotary cutter. I really love a small blade for that. So then I'm just going to lift it up and rotate my mat. Let's see, that was right there. Okay. I'm going to do another 1.5 inch cut from the center. So all you have to do, remember, these two blocks, one is measured from the center of the block, the other one is measured from the outside edge of the block. There. One and a half inch on center, right there. And when I'm using rulers, I really like the Creative Grids because they have these built-in non-slip little discs on the back of them, and they really stay in place well. One more cut, 1.5 inches on the center. And I'm not pressing down hard at all, everybody, just firm, even pressure. That should be all 4 of my cuts, and it is. There we go. I'm going to rotate the side pieces. And then I'm just going to sew my 3 rows together. I'm going to do something a little bit different this time because I'm not going to snip my threads in between. I'll show you what I mean here. So check this out. This used to do this years ago, and it really works well for this particular block. So I'm just going to chain it. And I'm going to keep them in order over here. Okay. I'm going to chain my first 3 parts of my first 3 rows together. And what's cool about this little scenario I'm showing you is this little technique. Okay, so now I have 3 pieces in my chain, right? We're going to cut it, but I'm going to leave them chained together. Okay, here's the top row. So what I mean by that, these would go right here like this. Okay, So then I'm going to come back over here. Here's my top row right here. I'm just going to open it up and bring my piece over and sew it on. The thread in between these units will act as a pin when it comes to sewing the rows together. Check it out. Okay. And we'll do the next one. Just open it up, bring it over. And our third row. We're going to cut that, and I'm still not going to cut my 3 units apart because now, check it out, everybody. See how they're all joined right there? This puts them in exact order for you to sew them together. So I'm just going to flip that one over and sew that edge where they're joined, where those 2 units are joined. I'm just pausing to make sure that my seams have lined up and they're nested. Excuse me. Cut. Now when I open this up, those 2 rows are joined. And there's my 3rd row. Now check it out. I'm just going to flip it over and sew that long seam together. What's really cool about this little technique here is that the little thread kind of holds it in place as you're lining up your row, and it keeps the pieces in order where they should be to sew together. How fun is that? So instead of doing a lot of pinning, the thread kind of acts as a pin to keep them in the proper order to sew together. There we go. How fun is that? Isn't that cool? So I'm going to check for messages, then we're going to do the other one. Wonderful. Yes, he is Mr. Fix-It, I tell you. Lisa, I love that ruler as well. Hi, Pat. Oh, you're welcome, Margaret. Yeah, so that was just kind of instead of going back and forth and picking them up one at a time and lining it back up over there, by doing this, it automatically keeps them in order once you fed it through the machine. Okay. Now, we can do the same thing with block number 2, but there's just a different order to pick everything up. So let's have a look at that. We're going to cut apart another block. Okay. And just swap our camera angle out here. There we go. This time we're still going to do our 1.5 inch cuts, but we're going to measure from the outside edge instead of from the inside seam lines. One and a half inch mark along the outside edge of the block. Do a cut. Then we're going to rotate. Line up that 1.5 inch mark on the outside edge and cut. And rotate. 1.5 from the outside edge. And rotate. After we make our cut. One more cut. Right there. If they move out a little bit, you can just line them back up before you put your ruler down. 1.5. And cut. And there's all our cuts are done. Now let's move those out. And we're just going to flip, rotate our side pieces on all 4 sides. Okay. Then we're going to sew them together, but on this one, we're going to start sewing from this side instead of this side. So for that previous block, we started here and went this way. For this particular block, we're going to go this way to make it work. So check it out. We'll move that camera back over. And this one on row 3. We're going to cut it. Now, in order, because I want to keep my larger pieces of fabric on the bottom, on this one, we're going to rotate this. And we're going to start with row 3 and bring our other piece over. I just find it's easier to manipulate the fabric if your larger piece of fabric is on the bottom as you're sewing. Oops, almost messed that up. And one more. There we go. Okay, now we're back to where we, just like we were before, they're all connected by threads, and now they're in the proper order to flip over, line up, and sew together. So cool. It just helps make it, and especially if you're doing a lot of these, it will help eliminate having to rip out something, a seam or a part of a seam, because I know I've done it. I put it in the wrong order as I started sewing. I just take my time at each seam line to make sure it's nested. And as I'm doing it, what I do, I push my top seam towards the presser foot, then my bottom seam is coming out towards me, and they just nest together perfect. That's just how I do it. You can do it any way that's comfortable for you. Okay, one more seam. Right there. We'll just flip it over. Now, if you had a lot of blocks done, you could chain piece more than one block at a time using this method. And what I mean by that, if you had, say, 4 of these completely cut and stacked, you could use the chain piecing method like we did for 1 block. It would also apply for whether it was 3 blocks or 30 blocks, however you were going to do it. I hope that made sense. You're not limited to the amount of blocks that you can chain pieces for. Okay, let's have a look at that. There we go. How nice that lined up. Super duper. Alrighty. Okay. And let's see here. Yes, so everybody, this is variation 2. And this is variation 1. So they're both really cool. They're a lot of fun to do. And when you're playing, if you want to experiment on your own, the thing to remember is you're going to make 1 cut from the center of the block or the outside edge of the block. You could make these cuts larger if you wanted to, especially if you were using, let's say, 10-inch charm squares, Lego cakes. You could actually get about an 18-inch block by using 4 10-inch squares of fabric as opposed to 5. Next Friday, I'm going to show you what that really looks like because I've done some. And there's some other variations next Friday. We're going to delve into making disappearing blocks using half-square triangles. Same concept as this. The 4-patch, but you get some really cool star blocks, easy peasy, using this method. And that's for next Friday night, everybody. So tomorrow at noon is the next episode for my Charms Gone Wild series. I will be in Phoenix, Arizona, January the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th at the Rusty Barn Quilt Show. If you're in that area, please stop in and say howdy. And then the first weekend in February, I will be at Jackman's Fabrics in St. Louis. And the following weekend, I will be at Jackman's Fabrics in Fairview Heights, Illinois. So if you're in that area, please come and pay me a visit. Would love to see you. I will also see then in March, I will be at Decorative Stitches in Shelby Township, Michigan. Then the following weekend, I will be at Flash Sew and Quilt in Naples, Florida. So I will start traveling again here in about 2 weeks and hope to see you out on the road. If not, that's okay. I'll see you right here. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you tomorrow at noon Central Standard Time. Bye, everybody. Good night, and thank you.